When I came to the academy, I was a blue belt. I've been training 3 years since then. And I was a regular student from day one. I was fairly serious. I moved here originally for school to the city, but I was training as much as I could, twice a day perhaps. I was studying physics in grad school, working in a lab, pursuing that. I went pro about 2 months ago, almost immediately after I got my black belt. I decided to make the switch to jiu-jitsu and submission grappling, mostly because of the purity of the sport, the merit-based nature of it. As stressful as it is, and it's a very unstable profession, to say the least. We're always being chased by injuries and issues and all sorts of problems. But we are only answerable to our own merits. If we are skilled grapplers, we succeed. If we are not skilled, we won't. I like the competitive approach. I watched my training partner Garry Tonon come up through those ranks by competing and demonstrating his skill. But mostly he's making a name for himself in these, sub-only events for the most part, or local shows or big shows.
And you seem to be going that same path as well.
That's what I'm planning on. I think that's the best way to demonstrate skill, by beating other skilled grapplers on a big stage. Wherever that is, yeah. Initially my first instructor was known as a leg lock guy. When I came here though, I had some basic rudimentary leg locks at blue belt, basic heel hook into a knee bar, sloppy movements that finish many people but really aren't effective against game opponents. And then John Danaher saw my interest in pursuit of the leg game and really taught me most of my game from that, just that initial inspiration and spark, mostly because they are just such effective submissions that no one really pursues fully. John's philosophy is always attack the whole body with our whole body. His whole body's a target, our whole body's a weapon. I think it was simply that the legs were an unexplored path for many grapplers. So he is skilled in that. He does have an immense amount of knowledge in leg locks. So I think that's part of it. Also, the nature of my body type, my personality, disposition is conducive to leg locks. I have short, stubby legs, good dexterity. I'm smaller, so it's easier to get my legs inside on the person, and it is the most efficient joint lock there is. The inside heel and the outside heel. These are efficient joint locks that don't necessarily, a person's resistance doesn't scale with their size, whereas an arm bar, big enough guy can arm curl you out. It's an example of an arbitrary rule set dictating the future of a sport. You have the IBJJF who came out with these rules, which are arbitrary. These are submissions. We're not talking about elbows and strikes. We're not changing the sport. Submission grappling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, submissions, right? Kickbooks have been around since the Luta Livre days, way back when, in the early days of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So these are not like new things. Yeah, I could vent about that, but I can't tell you how many people I roll with. It's like, yeah, you caught leg locks, but nothing else. It's like, because you defend your upper body by exposing your legs. And then if you defended your legs, I take your upper body. They're connected. It's not isolated. It's not, oh, my upper body submissions are good and I need to tighten my lower body submissions. So we're going to develop inconsistencies in our grappling. And again, it's a submission-based sport. So let's allow as many submissions as possible. The nature of the sport is that it's tricky to tell how much we're improving. Typically, as long as you're on the mat training, you'll get better. The question is rate of improvement. And it's hard because as we train with our training partners get better too. So our relative progress we can judge. Competition, That's a difficult benchmark, I think, to demonstrate your real ability. You know, under pressure, people perform differently. People go in very specific, narrow strategies for each other. So I think that's, I mean, it's a measure of skill for certain, but not necessarily improvement in skill. Sometimes just a better game plan can make all the difference. It's a very difficult problem, actually. How do you know you're improving? Another way to look at it is how many movements are we skilled at now? So that sometimes is easy. Like if you look at Garry when he first came here, he really only had a rear naked choke. He was scrambling, could get to the back, and had a really vicious rear naked choke. Now he's got a Hywel guillotine, like locks, or he's got an armbar he's been working on. So, you know, under that measure, he's certainly improved. He's learned more movements. So yeah, you know, when I was a blue belt, I barely had a leg lock. Now I have a fairly intricate leg locking sequence. So yeah, you know, under that rubric, we can measure as well whether or not we're improving. But that is a challenging question to answer. I hope to continue competing a lot. Lots of submission grappling tournaments. Hopefully like the next Polaris, maybe Metamoris, who knows. But yeah, just to compete a lot is the plan. Really sharpen the technique every day, getting better. That's the most important thing of all this. When I went pro, John pulled me aside. You know, there's a lot of social media and all sorts of games being played. He said the most important thing throughout all this is that you're consistently improving. That every day we come here and we sharpen our technique. That's the most important thing.